Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy new moon in Cancer. So, as you have seen, for those who are following the post of every day, today we begin with our emotional week of Cancer, and and as we have been going through the process of water in the subconscious, related to the subconscious, in the week of the mind. Um, this week, we will follow the unconscious through the parts of the tree of life. This is why today we start with the beginning and the end of the tree of life, which is the seed. Let's see about things that I have to clarify about today. So today we begin with this new moon in Cancer, which means that from today and now on 6 months, we will be going through a process which is about rethink, to rethink what we have in our minds regarding the family and home. So from today on, we are invited by the energies to rethink our concepts of family and home, so we can search for a new way, a new understanding, a new way of living the family and the home. And of course, that would be related to our inner child. So we have to go within to look for that, for the desires of our inner child regarding those two topics, family and home. So this doesn't mean we have to do something specific for these 6 months, but to be open to think about different ways in which we would like to relate with the family and home. To be open to anything that could happen that brings us to a new understanding of that. So today I share a little bit of my own process regarding this topic of finding a new home. So along this week, of course, I will be going through these topics related to home and family regarding the unconscious. So just I will be sharing, of course, my process as an example. So I invite you to make your own interpretation of all those things that we have in the unconscious and we don't actually see, but they are really close to us. So I would like to explain this, to start to explain these topics with the idea that came out today right in the post, which are related to the tree of life that we have been building in between all of us since the path has begun in August last year. So today when I was writing, I just realized something that I didn't get before. Even if I could connect kind of the idea of why after the path of the I am supposed to do the path of the dragon, I couldn't really connect it straight, like why specifically those two paths together. And today I kind of understood that, because what we have been doing all this year since August that we began until now, we have been creating the tree of life. So this tree of life, it's been related to each one of the topics that we have been explaining every day. And the path of the dragon is basically the snake that goes on the tree of life, like the story, which is the guardian of the knowledge of the tree of wisdom, that we call the Kundalini, which is the vital energy. I'm trying to make a graphic about it. So in a very simple way, this would our. So we have 5 days out of time to begin, 5 days time to finish. So one for time, the portal of time, the other one for the portal of space. So here we have our whole structure of what we have done. So we have 6 months at the beginning, 6 months at the end, and each one of the months has 3 weeks. One for the mind, the other one for the emotion, the other one for the physical. So what we have been doing was beginning by Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and then we kept going to Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer, from which we have only 2 weeks more. These 2. So during all this circle of time, we have been the tree of life. I didn't do it properly. So this would be like the upper part of the tree, in which each of this arm is like a circle. So what I wanted to show to you here is that what we have been doing is like the flower of life, because the symbol of the flower of life, because here we have 6 circles, 12 other circles, and that makes 18. So are the 18 that we have here. So all together are connected to one in the center, this one in the center, which is here, the trunk of the tree. So all the other circles are like this part of the tree, and we have one flower here and the other flower below. So that would be kind of the symbol. If we connect the upper part with the lower part, what we will get is a great sphere. What we have been doing this whole year through time was creating in space this big tree. So every day we were nourishing this tree through the leaves with the different topics, bringing consciousness through the light. So imagine that each one of the branches has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 leaves that are the days for each chakra. So what we have been doing is building this huge tree of life through time. And in this week, these 2 weeks, we wrap the last part of the circle. And once we finish with the whole shape of the things, what we do is to connect the whole Kundalini from the north around the entire planet, going down to the south, and reaching the south, we create the other connection. After we hit the whole pattern, go to north, move the Kundalini around to the south, we start to ignite and activate the movement of 9 levels, the 9 last chakras throughout 9 legs in the planet. After we create the entire shape of the tree, go to the north, connect the Kundalini through the 9 legs, which will be like 9 days, but along 6 months. And then we wrap it in the South Pole. Once the whole thing is connected, so the Taurus day, as we have every 10th day, which will be, in this case, 22nd February 2022, here in Egypt, we will do the Taurus together to finish the entire project. And of course, this path is all about consciousness. This is the path of consciousness. So this is why the path have to end like this, because in order to reach the conscious, we have to go through the subconscious and the unconscious first. This is why this month it's about going through the subconscious. Now we start the week of the unconscious, so we can finish the whole tree with the week of the conscious. So for sure, I have to become aware about this now in the unconscious, because today in the crown chakra of the unconscious, I could see from very close. What I can see clearly, what I had really close of me all the time, which was that the reason why for me it was impossible to do the dragon's path before, it was because I hadn't built before the tree where the dragon leads. And we're building it all together. The tree of life is, as you see now, it's a concept, it's conceptual, it's not something real, it's not something that existed. The tree of life is basically an idea that helps us understand everything is connected, that everything is part of the same thing, even if sometimes it doesn't seem so. And that even if we get like stunned by the flowers or the fruits of the tree, they were possible because of the roots, because of the hidden parts of the tree that we don't see. And this kind of helps us in the past to understand how the universe works, that everything is interconnected, that everything is part of something, that our ancestors' past lives other species, the different realms, everything is connected in the shape of a tree. This is why the ancient ones used to explain the reality as if it is a tree, an invisible tree that connects everything that we cannot see, but we can kind of know that is there, connecting every part of the reality. We could understand that also every day was like a flower or a fruit, every month was like a branch. So time and space worked exactly like a tree. So the ancient ones understood that everything was connected like kind of in the shape of the tree. So this is why they kind of create the idea that the divine mind organized the reality in that shape, and that everything was emerged from that shape. So all life, all the different beings, the animals, the creatures, the plants, everything were born from that. It meant that every creature also was uploading experiences to this tree. So that's why it was not only a tree of life that gave life, but also was the tree of wisdom. And that's why in most of the cultures we have this idea of a tree, of a sacred tree, representing the divine tree of the creation. So the ancient ones used to say that this tree that has all the potentialities of all living beings needed to be protected. So all these potentialities got together to create a creature to protect this tree. And that was the origin of the dragon. The dragon would be the conjunction of many attributes of different creatures that would encode the potentiality of each one of those creatures. So the dragon is not a being that really exists. A dragon is like the tree of life, which is a concept, an idea that describes the potentialities that every living being has within. So the story would say that this dragon is moving through the trunk and the branches of the tree, like crawling around, looking for attributes and experiencing. And through that, it gains wisdom. And so that's the symbolism of this movement of the wisdom that we can have within. Remember that I once explained that the ancient cultures, they used to take the different attributes from animals, creating the dragon, the shape of the dragon, so they could relate and channel with the potentialities, the skills that the different animals has. So basically the idea would be that a person has all this potential within, and it can wake up this concept through walking around, experiencing, waking up the potentialities that we have within, the skills we have inside, through time, through space, which is basically going through the branches of the tree of life. So whenever we listen about dragons, when people say about there's a dragon that is like this, or messages from the dragons, it's basically like channeling a huge package of information regarding skills and potentialities that we all can have. But when we start to relate with that, if we are willing to work with them, we can achieve the awakening of our potentials. we call it dragon because it's an old term to describe these potentialities, but actually you can call it whatever you want. Through biology, you may call it phosphorus, because basically is the element that connect the basis of the DNA. From the energetical point of view, we can call it vital energy. From the Hindu point of view, we can call it Kundalini. So it doesn't matter the name, really. What really matters is what it does. So from the point of view of the DNA, when we speak about the basis, the chemical basis for the DNA, you can find that the phosphorus, which is the one that connects, it means fire. And it's the chemical element that ignites because it is a conductive of energy. So that's why it moves the positive and the negative, the energy through our cells. So it's the spark of life. And we can also relate it to how phosphorus is the light itself, the chemical that ignites the fire, which in Kundalini, it's the inner fire that ignites the self. And for the ancient traditions, the dragon spits fire. So you can see the relation that is all the same. So the dragons are a symbol of protection of those potentials. So these potentials are like hidden, protected by the dragon, which means that basically all the potentialities that we have are hidden within, in the place we call the unconscious. So the dragon is kind of the guardian of the unconscious. So we can relate the dragon with this Kundalini that activates the chakras. The chakras are like the fruits of the tree of life. And in the chakras, we have all the potential. So the dragon tries to activate it. For sure, everyone will know the history of the tree, the snake, Eve, and Adam. So this is a story. It's not something that really happened. This is just an idea that describes something much more deeper, which is related to how a person that is related to the nature in a very harmonious way can activate its potentiality of all nature within, like in a very intense pleasure of feeling reality, of being part of this strength of nature. So you can create, you can manifest through that. But when you try to control it, when you try to manage it as your own will, putting yourself upon nature, what you are doing is to basically loosen the real control. And this dragon starts to get crazy. And this describes how our cultures through time try to rule over this strength of the dragon that we have inside, controlling it in a way in which we hide this potential, saying that we are able to manage it. In reality, the only thing that we are really doing is to hide it. This is why the dragon becomes part of our unconscious. It's related with the unconscious because it's all the power that we hide within ourselves, all this potential we have because of culture, tradition, or fear. And when this dragon is hidden and trapped within, without the possibility of going up and flowing, it starts to burn, creates fire, confusion, chaos, destruction. The historical idea was that we have to defeat the dragon, that we have to kill the dragon or control the dragon. But in reality, we should not dominate the dragon. So when we say that we have to control the dragon, it's like we spoke last week about a river. We should not, when we create a dam in a river, what we are doing is just controlling the river, but holding a lot of water. And if we hold that water, we can create destruction eventually. So it's not about controlling the river, it's about learning how to live with the river. It's learning about how to flow with it, how to navigate on it, how to take benefit of the growing of the river, of the food that it gives. So this week, what we will try to do is to learn how to set the dragon free. So remember that we have here idea of the seed. Today is the day related to the seed. So all that we spoke is basically the entire potential of the tree and the snake encoded in the seed. So just that. So I invite you to pick up some seeds and to sow them so you can set the intention to make grow something new related to this new concept that you want to manifest regarding family and home. Today we change the vibration to the letter Z. Z. The statement today is, I am universal vibration.